What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another vintage Star Wars market update. This time we're going to focus on Luke's graded items from AFA, UKG, and Collector Archive services. And before I begin any further, just a reminder for those of you that do have collections that you're looking to sell, you can reach out to me by email at actionfiguregrader@gmail.com, and I will put you in touch with some prospective buyers that pay very fair market prices. It allows both parties to avoid eBay fees or any kind of tax reporting. You're welcome to reach out to me. Again, it's actionfiguregrader@gmail.com. And we've got a nice wide assortment here across the price spectrum. There were some good deals, and there were some that were still, despite the current market environment, despite all of the economic concerns out there, the prices for loose graded, high graded items continue to command massive, massive prices. So let's go ahead and take a look. The first one we got is one of the gems out there in the vintage Star Wars world, and that is an AFA 85 vinyl cape Jawa. And obviously these were just very early Jawas that had the vinyl cape instead of the cloth cape that we know and love. This had the older case style. It was listed for $4,400 US, and the best offer that was accepted was $3,800, which is just a massive number and mind-blowing to me that it sold for that high. I thought I overpaid for mine when I did, and I bought mine probably 3 or 4 years ago, and it was at the very top end of the market at that point. But $3,800 is kind of for an older case style especially. That number really surprised me. This one didn't even have the dowels that kind of hold the figure in place, so it does rattle around inside. So again, I'm really surprised it went for that much. But it just seems like vinyl cape Jawas is considered a holy grail among most Star Wars collectors. And to get one that high a grade, you're going to be paying big money on eBay. I think if you're looking for this item, I would really try to focus on Facebook sales groups, Rogue 5 Toys, Deal or No Deal, Echo Base, Jabba's Palace. Some of those groups on Facebook really have better prices than what you see here. But that's just my personal opinion. Next up, I've got an interesting one that I don't really know what it is. And that's called the Darth Vader Split COO, is how it's labeled by UKG. Let's see if we can take a closer look at the label here. It says Hong Kong Split COO. Now, I don't know if that means that the COO is on both legs. You might have Hong Kong on one leg, made in on the other. I don't know. I couldn't find much information about it online. So if you know what a split COO means, please let me know. The other thing it could be is, partial, parts of a Hong Kong figure and a no COO figure. Given that this was graded in the UK by UKG, it's very possible that maybe it's, mixed parts, and that does happen sometimes. We documented on the channel a mixed limbs Spanish PvP Lobot that sold for big money. So maybe that's what's going on there. I don't know. It was graded UKG 85%. It was listed for 195 pounds, and the best offer that was accepted was 160 pounds. So just an interesting one. It's one I had never seen before. And again, if you have any information on it, please leave a comment below. Next up, we've got another UKG. This one's an 80% Hong Kong, a very nice figure for Han Solo. Straight 80s were the sub scores. It was listed for 120 pounds, which is about 129 US plus shipping, and that one did sell after sitting on the market for a couple of days. Another Han Solo, and we're going to start with this Browns 8888 seller. I don't know this seller personally, but he always seems to have really nice figures, and this batch of figures is across 2 different auction lots across 2 different weeks. But this one was the small head Han AFA 85, and it sold for $312, and that's a big boy price. But admittedly, I found a couple of data points from 3 or 4 months ago that were as high as $425. So take that for what you will. It's come down a little bit, but some of the other ones that this same seller had really did surprise me. Here was an AFA 85 Sand People or Tusken Raider. Now this was just the standard Tusken Raider. It did not have like the dark brown paint or the long eye stalks or the hollow cheeks. But that still sold for $304.99 plus shipping on that one. So that's a pretty big price. I mean, I'm kind of used to $250-ish for an AFA 85 standard Tusken Raider, but that $304.99 was a big price. Here was another one that commanded a massive price, and that is an AFA 85 plus Stormtrooper. Just a standard Stormtrooper, Hong Kong COO. But again, it's an AFA 85 plus, and it's tough to find these white figures anything above an 85. Oftentimes, it's hard to find a Stormtrooper just in a straight 85 grade. So to go from an 85 grade, which I would say is about $300, to an 85 plus, it sold for $525 on 35 bids. This just closed on September 25th. Likewise, an AFA 90 no COO Han Solo Bespin. So these would appear on Palitoy cards or Palitoy Tri-Logo cards. A 90 grade is very tough to get from AFA, especially these days. This had the brand new case style again. It sold for $691 in an auction on September 25th, plus shipping. Just a massive, massive number. And, if you look at this figure, though, it is absolutely gorgeous. The only thing that I could really point to, at least looking at the front of the figure, was a slate blue paint overspray onto the thumb, on his right thumb. You can see that there in this area here. That's really the only thing I could find on that figure that was really a problem area. But the buckle on that was in great shape. Just a beautiful, beautiful example of a no COO Han Bespin. But $691, folks, that is a crazy number to me, given that you can probably get a mint on card ungraded for that in good condition for that price or less. But wow, just a big, big number for a 90 grade Han. He also had a General Madine AFA 85. This was the Hong Kong molded face variant. There is also a painted face. I believe I have the painted face variant, but this molded face variant seems to be a little tougher to find for General Madine. But a gorgeous figure. That one sold for $117.50. I thought that was a great deal. Same seller also had an AFA 85 Zuckus, and that one sold for $134.50. This is the circles on the backs of the knees and heels. Hong Kong variant. There is also the same Hong Kong variant, as well as a no COO variant without the knees and heels circles on the backs of the legs. And let's see if we can find a picture of the back of the figure here. It's kind of hidden because of how AFA encases their figures, but on the backs of these legs right here, and then on the backs of the knees, there's little circle indentations that are EPM marks, EPMs, engineering. I call them EPMs. I don't know if that the right term is, but there is one another Hong Kong as well as another CO that does not have those circles on the backs of the legs. But $134.50, took that one home on September 18th. Also on September 18th was an AFA 85 lettered saber Obi-Wan Kenobi. Usually the letter on the saber hilt is a little bit earlier variation for the saber. Beautiful brand new case style. That sold for $406. And we've talked about this figure at length in an AFA 85. Usually an AFA 85 Kenobi has sold in the last 6 months or so. You can usually count on $450. But prices have come back down a little bit. And I think that sellers are going to have to adjust maybe just a little bit. And buyers too will have to adjust kind of their thinking as to what a fair price is for some of these first 12 figures. But $406 again took that one home. He also had an AFA 85 Luke Skywalker Bespin fatigues. This one is the blonde hair variant. Brand new case style. That sold for $360 and change, plus $468 shipping. So another example there. We documented some that sold here recently. Same COO, same grade, same hair color. That kind of sold in that same price point. So it seems like $325 to $360 seems to be the going rate for an AFA 85 loose graded Luke Bespin. This is the big shocker as well. This was a blue painted helmet Taiwan Boba Fett AFA 85. And, other than maybe like the Lily Lettys or some of the Spanish PvP figures, this one always commands massive, massive prices. The painted helmet Taiwan Fett is just very difficult to find. It only appeared on later Return of the Jedi card backs, to my knowledge. That one sold for $1,157 on 59 bids on September 18th. That is a jaw dropper of a price, but quite honestly, that's actually down from even some of the prices I've seen on the Facebook groups. I mean, this thing got up to like almost $1,500, $1,600, $1,700, and prices have come back down. So now $1,157 seems to be another data point for those of you looking for a high-grade blue painted helmet Taiwan Fett. This was a very interesting one that I almost pulled the trigger on twice. And this is a Lando Calrissian, but it's labeled by UKG as a dark gray cape. It was UKG 80% Hong Kong COO, but look how dark gray that cape is versus the normal ones. And I did kind of pull up my phone with this item and I compared it versus the 6 or 7 different Lando Bespin variants that I have in my collection, and this was noticeably darker. And so I had this one in my cart because it was only listed for £74.99, which is about $81 US. And I was like, do I really need like a 7th Lando Bespin? Even though it was a fairly unique COO or, figure variant, given that it's the dark gray cape. So I didn't buy it. I sent it to Blacked Out Ewoks, who's a fellow YouTuber, by Instagram. I said, hey, this is a pretty good price on a kind of a weird variant that I'd never heard of. And by the time he pulled it up, it had already sold. So I probably should have bought it, and I'll probably be kicking myself. But quite honestly, I just don't have the space for any more Landos. You can't really see them, but they're kind of behind my left shoulder up here. And, I think I've got 7, including a bagged one, a Spanish figure. I got the China COO, a Hong Kong, a no COO, and the Lily Letty. So I got 6 of them all together. So I just thought it was kind of overkill to get a 7th one, although that was very tempting. But a great pickup, whoever got that one. Here's a unique one from Collector Archive Services. It's Collector Archive Services graded 85, but it was encased inside the same case, the C-3PO removable limbs with the removable limbs baggie still sealed, along with an R2-D2 sensor scope. So these are kind of Empire Strikes Back figures that were encased together, and they were graded together as an 85. Those sold in an auction for $174.50. I thought that was a really great deal for kind of a unique custom display. Next up was a sensor scope R2-D2. This one had the 1977 date stamp on it, which is a little bit tougher to find. And this is one I think I had in my What to Buy video, and it sold very quickly thereafter. It was listed for 135 pounds, which is 145 US dollars plus shipping, and that was the sales price. Next up was another one in my What to Buy video. This was a UKG 90% gold grade Max Rebo band, and they were custom encased with kind of a very nice presentation style. Collector Archive Services also does a very similar presentation style where it looks like they're playing the flutes, and it has the microphones all set up, and just looks really nice. Anyway, that one sold for 599 pounds, which is 647 US dollars. Next up, we've got a Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight Snap Cape Green Saber AFA 85 with the brand new case style. That one sold at auction for $430 and change plus $750 shipping. So what's the recurring theme in this video is that if you got really high grade figures, despite the current market environment and kind of the expected slowdown, we really haven't seen it in high grade figures yet. We have seen it in kind of 80s and 80 pluses and below for loose graded figures. And for mint on card items, we just talked about that in Hakes, how some of those ungraded mint on cards sold for very, very cheap, well below market value, even accounting for the 18% buyer's premium that Hakes charges. So you just got to pick and choose your spots right now. And while I'm not personally looking to buy anything right now, if you are looking, just be patient, wait for the right thing, but just expect to have to pay premium prices for AFA 85s, 85 pluses, and 90s, because at least on eBay, the prices still support big grades or big prices. Here was an interesting one. This is the Survival Kit Baggie, but it only has the baggie. So it doesn't have the box or the catalog that comes with it. It was graded AFA 85 plus. That sold at auction for $156.50. I thought that was a pretty good deal, quite honestly. Usually, if you see the display where it's graded with the box as well as the catalog that it comes with, as well as the leaflet, there's like a long leaflet that Kenner included with some of the U.S. Versions of this mail-away survival kit. Usually you're talking $300 plus. So just for the baggie in a very high grade in an 85 plus, $156.50 free shipping, that's a pretty good price in my mind. Here was one I was tempted by, and that's the No COO TIE Fighter pilot graded AFA 80. This is really the only major TIE Fighter variant that I'm still missing. I've got the Hong Kong, the China, the Spanish PBP, and the Lily Letty, but I don't have a No COO, and so these would appear on Palatoy cards. They were made over in Europe. That one sold for $110.50. I thought that was a great price for an AFA 80. Usually for an AFA 80 plus, you're probably talking $140 to $150. I would expect to pay probably closer to $200 or $225 for an AFA 85 plus or higher. But just another data point there. Here was a CAS graded 85 Han Solo trench coat. This one has the plain lapel. I've got the camo lapel on the 77 back as well as in a baggie. But this one was a really nice one. This one has the peach face. There's also a pale face, pale hands variant. This one sold for $175 plus $12 shipping. And then speaking of the camo lapel, here was a CAS 85 Han trench coat with the camo lapel. That one sold at auction for $127.50 on 18 bids. That closed on September 24th. A really nice example of the Han. And this one has the paler face. So you can look at this face here, it's very pale. Versus this one, it's a much kind of a pinker face, brighter pink, peach face, and peach hands. Next up, I'm going to finish off the video with some uncirculated 90 grade figures. And again, as we talked about already in the video, high grades equals high prices. And this one was a U90 ATST driver, Taiwan COO. And this one had the older case style where it didn't even have the dowels going around the neck area. So this one kind of rattles around, or it's kind of wedged inside there. And, you know, I don't particularly like these cases. I mean, I'm sure they're fine, but, you know, you got to understand that they're just kind of wedged inside this very rudimentary early AFA case. So they do have the potential to move around and have some rubs on the paint. It's still sold for $425 plus $20 shipping. That same seller also had a U90 Hong Kong Imperial Commander. That one sold for $599.99 plus $20 shipping. And then finally, the same seller had a U90 Hong Kong COO AT-AT Commander with the dark kind of like pinkish face. There's also a Spanish pale face. There's a no COO. Lots of different variations out there. But that one also sold for $599.99 plus $20 shipping. So anyway, just some more data points for those of you out there shopping for loose graded AFA, UKG, and CAS graded items. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.